is my second attempt at a video blog entry for my class art log at Frank Moore Institute Interactive Media Environments program. I made one yesterday. It was 8 minutes long, and I felt like it was very encompassing, but because I'm in a new culture and because I've sort of been in the world for many more years than the fellow students, I just want to be very conscious of how I communicate about myself and also the cultural differences. I don't want to come across in a way that I don't want to be represented. So unlike the videos that I've been doing here on the YouTube channel, we're up to like 750,000 views so far, which are unedited. I just uncensored, whatever comes to mind. That's why I eat during some of them, some of the more famous ones, perhaps. But I think I need to be a little more self-censorship oriented. I'm still eating, but I want to just say a little bit less and focus much more purely on what's happening in the artistic process, and less commentary and such like that. So a big part of my work is based, at least now, I'm thinking, on Jungian writings. And there's this man named Gareth Hill, who's a therapist in California, who has sort of taken Jung, in my opinion, to the next level. So I just want to read one of his paragraphs and then talk about how it relates to one of my classes yesterday. So he talks about these 4 different states. Sorry, I just needed some oil. That's the static feminine, that's sort of a wholeness, togetherness with all of reality, or the mother. Then there's a dynamic feminine, which is the phase you go through when you're like a baby, and it's all about what you want and your own personal will. And many human beings, and for many millennia, humans in general, never went beyond the dynamic masculine. Yes, I think you visit the other stages, all 4 stages you visit, but really you have one that is predominating in your life. Then static masculine is when you reach adolescence and you're very into structure and how does it work, and societies, when they began to build armies and economies and governments, went through that. And that's also the bulk of how society is set up. And the arts, I believe, too. Just flipping between the dynamic masculine and the static masculine. But there's a whole other side, which is the feminine. There's the dynamic feminine and the static feminine. And dynamic feminine is more playful, spontaneous, and the static feminine, as I mentioned earlier, is just that original wholeness, togetherness with all of reality. It's not masculine and feminine like men and women, or even behaving masculinely or femininely. It's just sort of fits in with the sort of stereotypes of the genders, and maybe has some underpinning that's the nature of reality as opposed to just biology. Anyway, we're not going there now. Just want to read you this paragraph and then talk about briefly something that came up in class. So the ego's, I'll skip ahead here. Dynamic feminine experience is a yielding to the flow of undirected and spontaneous experience itself to take in new perceptions, leading to new awareness that is not encompassed by the accustomed framework of the static masculine order. It produces new learning and insight, and it engenders an appreciation of the mystery of spontaneous realization, highlighting the limitations of the existing static masculine order and the infinite possibilities in experience. So yesterday, we were asked, are we an artist? Some people felt that maybe they were more of a designer than an artist, and other people talked about the medium that they work in. And I didn't want to get into a whole spiritual discussion, but really a lot of what my life and my work is trying to be about is not labeling yourself, putting yourself in a box. That's sort of the colloquial way of saying it. But really it's more about, in a truer sense, awareness of yourself as the universe. Sort of the God within. The Eastern philosophy and religion sort of talks about this, but these are all pointers. And so I feel like the whole thing, I am an artist, is a static masculine structure. Not to deny it, it's certainly useful, and then people know how to relate to you and how to pay you money so you can support your family. But really what I think my work is trying to be about is the move to this feminine side, the dynamic feminine of playfulness, spontaneity, creativity, outside of so much mind activity, so much left brain structures, and then back to the static feminine where we all began. Technically speaking, never left. Anyway, I'm going to keep it short. Oh, signature work. I don't really know if I would qualify this. I didn't even create this. I had this created for me. I've used it in some of my theater and film work. It's a Buddha on the bottom and a space helmet on top. And it's kind of, I have a lot of ideas behind this, but basically it's a combination of the sort of Eastern philosophy with our everyday paradoxical lives, and certainly what we see happening in the realm of physics. And other things is sort of pointing to the idea that we're living in the Matrix. So I'll leave it at that for now, and I'll replace this video with the video I did yesterday. Thank you. The other difference between what I'm doing with the videos now is I'm watching them before I upload them. I used to just spit it out and upload it, and it was an exercise in freeing myself of embarrassment or self-judgment or trying to look good, which I think is so much part of what artists are doing. If they're trying to look so hard to look good, they're not being truthful. And I'm much more interested in being truthful, which maybe is a way of looking good, and you can devote a whole lifetime to contemplating that. But anyway, I do want to also speak out loud some of the things that I'm noticing to remind myself. So I do tend to speak a little quickly, and some of the people who will be listening and watching will not have English as a native language, and so I want to try to speak slower and more clearly. Maybe that means I can't eat while I'm recording it. And then also, I held up the image, but it wasn't seen. So this is the image. I didn't realize my framing was so tiny here. And now you can see how it's Buddha on the bottom and Spaceman helmet on top. And I mentioned the Matrix very briefly, but if you look at the Matrix as Maya, quite literally, and you take out the idea of evil computers, you basically have Eastern philosophy film right there. In other words, that we are living in a illusion that we have created for ourselves. Perhaps in order to figure out who we are, I don't know. We'll explore the reasons for the life that we are living, for existence itself, or just explore the mechanisms. But anyway, that's all I wanted to do. I don't want to keep this get this to go too long. So again, just going to speak a little slower, more clearly, enunciation, not chew while I'm speaking to you, and I wanted to show you the image, which I did not create. This was created for me. So can a signature work be created by somebody else? From a non-dual perspective, I would say so, yes. Thank you for listening.